In a quiet way, not, I mean, he wasn't a real boisterous person or a braggy person. I don't mean to say that about him.
Mm-hmm.
But you felt his presence around things. He's got a very authoritarian, I'm sure even now he probably does.
Yeah.
Of course, I haven't seen him,
I guess it's been a while since
Well, I would say the last time I saw Jeff was we played together in a game.
In high school?
No. It was Seton Hall and Patrick always had rivalries, and
Uh-huh.
he come back and we played together. I guess it was about like 64, 5, something like that.
Okay.
But anyway, that's you can get to it.
But in school, I take it that there was, after a while, you became aware that there was a certain thing between Jeff and Colette, and they would date and they would get back together and.
Well, yeah, and that's what was happening with Colette and I too.
Uh-huh.
It was the same, when Jeff wasn't going, I was kind of thing almost.
Were you the two, do you think, or was there anybody else?
Well, she stayed a couple of summers with Bonnie Brown.
Right.
Later on, like in 10th grade, 11th grade, even 9th grade probably, over at the beach.
Yeah.
And who knows,
going to
during
see Bonnie
the
the
summer.
same way.
Jeff worked over at the beach too.
He worked.
He was
He
a
worked
taxi
at an
cab.
inlet first as a lifeguard one summer, and then he was a taxi cab driver.
Right.
Let me ask you this, while we're on that subject. The Kassabs, of course, you have to take a certain amount of what they say with a grain of salt, because obviously after all this took place, they started to pick up rumors and hear things, and they have opinions about Jeff which are probably not necessarily founded in truth, although their primary opinion about him has been confirmed by a jury of his peers. They had the impression that while Jeff was working as a cab driver over there, he was making pretty good money just driving people back and forth, but that he was picking up some money having sex with some of the homosexuals. Did you ever hear that?
That used to be a thing that guys did around here. I know a couple guys or they would go over and tease him.
Yeah?
They go to Cherry Grove and tease him or stuff, and I'm not exactly, I couldn't say verbatim because I wasn't right there. But I think I confirmed it with the fella, but I'm not exactly sure he got raped. They caught him.
Who, Jeff got raped?
No. Another fella. And and that kind of slowed it down a little bit once they heard about him.
I see.
But that's what, those guys used to be, it was a much more closeted than it is now.
Yeah.
And some of the things, the tales that come back, well, some guy gave me $20 to pee in his face,
Uh-huh.
And,
Okay, so you
who
don't
knew whether it was true? I never went over it.
You had no
I
personal
don't know
knowledge of
what
whether
it-
Jeff was making any money in that one.
Yeah, I have no one. I know they make good money because another friend of mine was driving at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes. What about her?
She's out.
Oh, okay. Just a second.
Okay.
Right there. You better watch out. It's like clothing tank.
Yeah. I had a couple of them. Okay,
All right.
now, we were talking about Jeff and the cab over there and so on.
They made very good money.
Yeah.
Excellent money.
But they worked long hours.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was no set times when you slept over there and everything,
Yeah. Well,
Back
because this
then,
was
a
when Jeff
couple
was in
$100
college,
a week,
right?
more.
This was when Jeff was in college. After,
Yeah.
After graduating.
I don't know whether, I guess it was when he was in college. I don't know whether it was high school or not. It might have been the last year of high school or something.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure.
What was your opinion of Mildred and Freddie? Did you meet them much when you were going out with Colette?
Yeah.
How did they treat you?
They treated me very nicely.
Yeah.
Mildred is an opinionated person in a lot of ways. Freddie really wouldn't let his opinion be known. I mean, he was always smiling and very nice. I knew he didn't hate me. I knew he liked me, put it that way, but he wouldn't. Mildred, though, once she realized that maybe I wasn't going to go to college right that second, or I wasn't going to go to a big name school. It kind of cooled a little bit, and then when I quit school, that's when the pressure was put on to stop going out with me, and there was a lot of pressure.
When you quit school, you mean the high school?
No, I quit college. My first year when I went away.
I see. What college did you go to?
Kutztown. You ever been there?
Kutztown State.
Yes.
It's a football college.
Well, it is.
I've heard of a couple of players come from there.
Yeah, I played for Dallas and stuff.
Somebody on the Jets came from that school. Jesus Christ.
I don't know. You couldn't drink. You couldn't.
Where was it? In Dallas?
No, it's in Pennsylvania.
Oh, it's in Pennsylvania.
It's right between Reading and Pennsylvania.
Why couldn't you drink? It was a...
No, you get blue laws. You couldn't. The stores weren't open for a certain time. I came from a fairly free community kind of thing,
Yeah.
But I mean, you couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Bed 9 o'clock kind of thing,
Well, now, you said that's what...
So I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't mature enough for that kind of thing. To be very honest with you.
At the time when you first went away to college, what year was that, by the way? That was September of what year?
We went, let's see, graduated in 61, so that was September 61.
Okay.
61, 62.
Okay. Now, what was the relationship you had with Colette at that point when you went away to college? Were you on with her at that point?
Oh, yeah, excellent, yeah.
So you were, she
what do
wasn't
you want to
really
call it,
seeing
going
you.
steady, or,
Yeah,
engaged to be engaged, or whatever.
But at that point, it was really you rather than Jeff.
Yes, right around until the next summer.
Mm-hmm.
See, I
How
quit
did you
school
communicate?
before
She was at Skidmore.
Christmas. Yeah,
How did
I've
you
been up there. I
communicate?
went up there a couple
Oh,
times.
you went to Skidmore a couple of
Yeah.
times?
Saratoga Springs and stuff. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
When I quit, and I would take her weekends up there. She had a girlfriend who had a boyfriend from New Jersey. I don't know who he was. He was a nice fellow, and we would make a weekend, and he and I would share a motel or something.
Oh, really?
Cut the costs and everything.
Then you drive up with him?
No. Well, one time I did drive back. I took a bus up one time, and then Mom lent me her car one time.
Uh-huh.
I was calling it. My father's kind of old-fashioned. He didn't believe it. If I was going to quit school and I wanted money, I had to go to work.
Yeah.
In this old mill over here, I went to work in, and they only paid $40.
Oh, yeah?
It
was a lace mill before it burned down?
I was doing these jackets with foam rubber inside, laminating.
Right.
That's what I was making. It was a wonderful job. I hated it.
Did you go up to see Colette during that year of your first year at Kutztown, prior to quitting, or only after you quit? Did you got to see her?
After I quit.
So you were sort of separated from her?
I can't remember if I... Yeah, it was after I quit. It was like after Christmas vacation, whatever that was. February, January, March, February. Yeah, during those months.
You quit, what month did you quit?
Oh, I
school?
quit at the semester break. The first semester. Yeah, the first semester.
Did you deal with cars at that time as well? Were you fond of cars? And
I was fond of them, but I had very little knowledge and lesser money.
Let me ask you a question. Did you have dirt under your fingernails then a lot?
Probably, yeah. What?
Well, this matches up with something that
Mildred said.
I asked him. I asked him frankly one time. I said, "Well, now they told me about you is how I
I
first."
still do.
Yeah, right. But they
I
told
wash
me
it out, though, believe me. No.
They told me about Dean Chamberlain. They said that they thought you were a nice young man and so on and so forth. But as you pointed out about Mildred, she said that
I wasn't good enough.
that's exactly right. Did she make
But
that
where
clear
am I
to you?
today, Mildred?
That's exactly right, and they regret it. Really regret it. If that makes you feel.
Well, I'm
good.
working on my 4th degree, Mildred. Never made it through college, but I'm going on my 4th degree.
They really regret it. And they said to me something which really, I don't know, it got next to me. They said I hope I never act this way when it comes
Well,
to
I'll
my
tell you
work."
one thing. I really appreciate you telling me that, because I've always regretted that. Maybe that's one of the things that get me going on, but I always thought Mildred had me pegged wrong. And I per se, I can talk to you right now about it. I never hated her for it. I can understand it. I got a daughter. I can always understand her maybe looking at me and looking at Jeff and saying, okay, there's the blonde warrior, and look at this guy. But yet, it always bothered me because it was what was inside that I knew was different. You see, that's why Jeff and I, like a junior year, we tried to hang around each other, put it that way, for a couple, 3 weeks, I mean, we liked each other, don't get me wrong, I didn't always hate.
Well, you was.
But I didn't like his attitude towards things, his coldness. Hi, Walter. I'm sorry. I'm talking to a friend. Yeah, that guy reported. Bob Keeler. I didn't know at the time. You know, I look back at it, and I wonder if I would have let my kid go out, my daughter with me, at that point in a person's life.
What was it about you, do you think, that turned them off, really? I mean,
I had
as
to
compared
work.
to Jeff.
I had to work all the time. My father didn't give me money, so I was working at a gas station. That's where I got a lot of it. And
Whereabouts? On Main Street or something?
Bay Avenue. Well, there's a Gulf station there now, but it's all been rebuilt. Bay Avenue and Main Street.
Yeah.
The corner. All right, yeah, I could probably sit here and we get the old granddad out and we could digress for a long time. That would give you a lot.
Yeah, but he wanted you to work for spending money that you got.
Oh, yeah. If I needed a car, I had to go get my own car.
Okay.
Which surprised the heck out of him. Yeah. That's a whole other story.
But obviously it wasn't just dirt under the fingernails. It must have been something else about you that you...
I don't know. My parents, my father comes from one of the better families in Rochester. All right, and my mother comes from a long line of old Irishmen from Staten Island, and manners are a whole thing, and I was always very polite and well-spoken, I think.
Right.
Of course, New Yorkers with their nasal tones do sound
dumb.
Well,
she said you were a lovely boy, the word she uses a lot, but that, I don't know, somehow whether the dirt under the fingernails type thing, what indication did you get from when you were around
Just
Colette?
a feeling, I get a feeling from people, I don't know. She never said anything that I could. She did break down after a while later on and tell me that there were pressures on her. That they were pressuring her.
Oh yeah, Colette.
Yeah.
When was this? Maybe one of your
Well,
visits
when
up
we
there?
were breaking up, it broke me up quite a bit. And we were breaking up, and Colette was very decent about it. She wanted to return some things that she knew would mean a lot to me, such as a letter, sweater, or stuff like that. And we left on very good terms. And she wanted to, let's go meet and talk it out, and I'll try and explain my point of view to you and yours,
Yeah.
And there was, a lot of pressure being put on her, and a lot of negative attitudes being thrown at her. So, as a kid of 19 or 20, I guess we were 20 at the time, 19, something like that. I don't know if I could have withstood it either without changing my feelings,
What was the period of time when this happened mostly? Right after you dropped out of Kutztown?
Yeah, I would say that from that last 6 months there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she had this conversation with you, or these conversations, and told you about the pressure and so on, that would have been where? Up at Skidmore or down
She
here?
was at Skidmore, but she was also, during the summer of being here.
That would be the summer of 1962, right?
Yes, I guess the first year, right.
Okay.
61, 62.
So you had a lot of conversations on the subject in the summer of 62.
Well,
Not, I take it, get specific with you as to what her mother, what Mildred and Freddie were saying to her.
no. No, not really. I could imagine, though. I could very well imagine.
Yeah.
And, being cast into the same pot, Jeff or somebody like him, and that was their expectations.
Yeah.
Then I could understand, I could see what maybe,
What did you want to be at that time? What were your expectations for yourself? In terms
I don't think there were any real expectations I was going for art, and, at the time. But, I think that was a father-son
strong
thing.
ideas about what you wanted to be.
What I wanted to probably be, I couldn't, so I just never said much of anything to anybody. Like I wanted to get into medicine or whatever. That was my thing. Yeah. And I ended up my next job after that, and where I met Colette and Jeff again, was Brookhaven Lab. And Jeff was working out there in the summer, that next summer.
This would be the summer of 63, just before they got married up?
63, yeah.
Well, Jeff's dad worked at Brookhaven Lab, didn't he?
Right. He was an engineer out there.
And what was Jeff doing at Brookhaven Lab?
Maintenance. I was working there during the year.
I see. He came in during the summer?
Yeah.
What were you doing at Brookhaven Lab?
In the hospital, it was interesting. I'd deliver anything the doctors wanted. If they wanted some kind of special machinery, I'd go get it for them. If they wanted films shown, I'd show it to them.
Mm-hmm.
If they had to pick up patients, outpatients, I'd go pick them up.
I wasn't really aware whether they had a hospital at the lab.
Oh, yeah. It's for terminally ill.
I see.
And so if people were allowed to go home with Parkinson's disease or cancer or whatever, we could function at home until the point that they had to be hospitalized.
Yeah, I see.
So I go pick them
How
up.
did you get that job?
Went in, put my name down.
I see. Were you at loose ends at that point?
Oh, yeah.
After you left Kutztown, you really didn't know what you wanted to do.
No, and I was glad I went there because I got talking with a lot of doctors who were really helpful and stuff, and I realized after working at the mill and doing that kind of thing,
Right.
and after working out there and doing that kind of thing, that there was no choice. I was going back to school, And I quit in subsequent years, but I didn't have money. I paid for it all myself. So, but it never bothered me that it was going to take me 6 years to get through college.
Yeah. But that comparison of those kinds of jobs more or less helped to screw your head on straight
Right.
and tell you what you wanted to do.
Right.
After your experience out, when you met Jeff again in the summer of '63 working there, did you?
We were like two town cats.
Oh yeah.
We saw each other, but we really didn't say anything. Colette, one time we were playing a softball game. He was on one team, I was on another or something. And
This was at the lab?
yeah, they got about 4 or 5 softball fields.
Right.
They promote a lot of family activity.
Right.
And they were there, but we didn't talk. It was
You didn't talk to Colette either?
No. The only time I talked to her after we had broken up, I danced with her out at, this is a famous place you probably want to book, the Apple Tree in Mattatuck.
Apple Tree in Mattatuck.
Yeah, that was a place where everybody was going, and we'd all drive out there.
So that class in Patrick.
Well, that class and that group of people around here, all around here. And I danced with her, and he got all upset.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What year would that have been?
It was before they were married.
So it'll be summer of '63 maybe, again?
Did they get married in 63?
They got married in September of '63, yeah.
Could have been. Very well could have been 63. Could have been 62.
You just happened to be out there with
Could have been
somebody
a
else?
Christmas vacation. Might not have been a summer. Could have been a Christmas vacation.
So 62 or 63.
Yeah.
You happened to be out there with somebody else or alone?
Yeah, a good friend of mine. And some, we met some girls out there and stuff like that.
And Colette and Jeff just happened to show up.
Yeah.
Were you aware, by the way, during that period in early '62, right after you dropped out of Kutztown, that Jeff was the competition and so on and so forth? I mean,
I had a good feeling,
Yeah.
Right. And he was known to snake. He tried to do it when we were going together in high school.
He was known
I
to
caught
snake.
him snake around behind your back.
Oh yeah.
And she asked him to leave one time. He came over. He called her up, and then he came over to her house. Tried to talk to her, and she ended up calling me.
Mm-hmm.
I went over there.
Mm-hmm.
And then a friend of mine, whose parents live right down the street, Rube, which is Richard Rubin. He lives in Plymouth, Massachusetts. You might want to talk to him.
He was in that class too?
Uh-huh. And he was a friend of Jeff's. Matter of fact, I think he went to grade school with Jeff.
I see.
All grade school and stuff. That's how I knew he went to Tremont. And he would have, he saw him on the street behind him and chased him. And Rube chased him. I didn't. I stayed with Colette. And tried to tell him, stay away. We're gonna get in trouble here. We're gonna, start having.
That was at what period? What time was that?
That was in the last year, senior year of high school, '61. I guess that was the.
But at that time, it was pretty much.
Meantime, he was going with another guy.
Yeah, who, Carol Lawson?
Yeah. Which he was, this is between me and you. I don't care if you want to put it in there now, but he was going up behind her back too.
Behind Carol's back?
Yeah. Out of town, going to Sable or something like that. That was
But at that time in high school, that last year, senior year in high school, it was understood that you and Colette were more or less going steady, so that it was really considered to be rather dishonorable for Jeff to show up in her house.
Yeah.
And you say Colette called you?
Yeah, one time she called me and told me, that he had pulled in the driveway and stuff, and so, she was afraid, or not afraid that he would hurt her or anything. but she didn't know what to expect when I come over because she didn't want me to get mad because maybe somebody would say, oh yeah, I see Jeff was over her house or something like that.
So you went,
Yeah.
and then how did Ruben get involved?
Rube was with me.
Oh, Ruben was with you.
Rube was with me. She called.
So you stayed in the house with Colette. This was on Powder Avenue still. And Ruben just chased Jeff?
Yeah. Yeah, no, he took
Physically
off.
ran after him? Or?
No, he was in the car.
Oh.
On the next street over, this little street. Atlantic Avenue, and then it goes right in.
Jeff was
There
in
was
the car?
another big house, and yeah. He had a little MG, and he had a 50 or 52 MG, you know, the MG little convertibles.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, super looking cars. He, the whole look.
Yeah. But what did Ruben chase him in his
Yeah,
car?
talked to him, yeah.
And what did Ruben say to him?
Just told him, that it isn't the right thing to do, and that,
It wasn't punches thrown.
Oh, no. Jeff could handle himself. But so could Ruth, so,
Okay. So how was Colette when you got there? Was she upset about this? Or what?
Yeah, well, she didn't, it was like any sophomore relationship or whatever you want to call it. She was upset because she thought I'd be upset by it,
Yeah, right.
And I was in a way because I didn't, I wanted to know whether, if she was, asking him over or not. And she said no. And then he admitted that, he just thought he wanted to come on over if I can remember it right.
Uh-huh.
Rube might remember it better because he's the one who talked to him. But Rube came back and told me he said he was sorry. Didn't realize it, or something like that.
Forgive me if I skip around on here,
Sure.
but I'm beginning to realize the more I talk to you that we're not going to be able to accomplish this mission in an hour and a half.
I can tell you there's a lot of years that you can't, and there's a lot of thought going into it because...
Well, you'll think of things more as we
yeah.
talk about it, but you see...
It depends. I got to feel what you want from me. I don't know. I'll just tell you the things
wanna
I
find
know
out
as
if
I
I-
see them, and then it's you hit upon something that you really think that would be...
Well, let me explain to you a basic principle of book writing, which I don't know if you've ever gotten involved in writing that much, but in order to build up over a period of time an accurate feel for someone's character, you've got to get a lot of little tiny bits and pieces that'll fit ultimately into a mosaic, to use an art term. And little tiny anecdotes like that will ultimately be the kind of thing that will make this book. In other words, when I write a book, a couple of chapters about Jeff McDonald growing up, I'm not going to write that what your opinion necessarily of him was, but the thing that you will contribute to this ultimately would be little remembrances of little incidents like that, or little insights you had into his character from things he actually did or said.
Mm-hmm.
See, so those are the kinds of things I'm looking for.
All right, I'll give you a couple more.
Obviously, there'll be a lot of. Now let's. Let me see now. I was going to go off on about two different trails here. The more we talk about it, the more trails there are to follow.
Well, see, let me finish this. Jeff and I had a confrontation in 9th grade. We fought over Colette.
Uh-huh.
All right, I figured you'd like that. Out in front of the school, which was broken up. We were picked up by buses, so it couldn't have really, it was just a quick thing, and it was broken up.
Hatfield High now? Or
This is down South Ocean.
South Ocean?
That was Patrick High, up until 1958.
Okay.
All right, so this was 57.
Right.
And it was basketball season, and there was a game that day. I think it was even almost before the first game. Might have been. It was during the season.
Right.
And who meets at the back locker door with no coach there? He and I. And we just fought that afternoon. And he was enough of a gentleman, and he said he saw it was stupid, and I said I thought so too. And we apologized right then and there, and there was no more problems.
Well, what specific incident or whatever?
I think it was over who was going to go out with Colette.
Oh, yeah?
We were both at that time wanting to go out with her. I don't think either that or I had been going and he, I infringed upon him, or I talked to her, or vice versa. It's funny now. It's incidents though you can remember. I can see it just as perfectly as day.
Yeah, well, the game afterward was sometime after the fight, later on that afternoon.
No, it was in the afternoon, and that evening when we came to practice or dress up and stuff, nobody was there to open the door for the locker room, and he and I are standing there looking at each other.
Yeah.
But we both just looked at each other and we said, "Hey, this was stupid. We're sorry." So it ended up, I figured here goes another fight.
Okay.
Can you tell me something else? Sure. Where's Jay? Do you know anything about Jay, his brother?
Well, Jay is living in New Hope. Well, as long as you bring up New Hope, Pennsylvania. I did not see Jay at the trial. I'm told of Jay that I would probably
My brother
recognize
sees him
if he was-
once in a while over the beach. My brother's a Marine policeman.
Oh, yeah?
And he said he told me he wouldn't recognize him. He saw him once this summer.
Well, Jay's a big guy, I'm told.
Yeah.
He goes about 6'2" and about 250 or something like that.
You know, a lot of fat though. I mean,
Lot
he's
of
still
fat.
big though.
Yeah. But he also supposedly better looking than Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, talking about Jay, what kind of a relationship did they have? Were they very competitive? Jay was a little bit older than Jeff and was also a football player. And,
Jay was a better athlete, mainly because Jeff was very brittle. He was always hurting himself. He was always breaking an ankle or spraining it, and then he couldn't play. Just a little too brittle for sports.
yeah, right.
Jay always, Jay didn't play a glamour position. He played like a tackle,
Yeah.
or a guard. So I think Jay was satisfied with his role. I don't think Jay was always getting a piece of ass and this and that. So I don't think he really. All right, bye. I don't think he really needed much more than that. The only thing I feel sorry about Jay is he was a pretty nice guy, but he every job he went to, he could have been. He was foreman in 2 weeks. He was this. He was top salesman when he was working for insurance companies,
Yeah.
and he screwed it all up.
Well, he had a drug problem at one point.
This is before it comes to he may have had it. Like maybe it was a drinking problem then or something. But I mean, he just literally let things that people desire very highly just go. Maybe that's his fail-safe mechanism. I don't know.
I mean, success type things.
It was just maybe a little too much.
Yeah. But he was
Jay
he was a leader type like Jeff to some extent. He would become a foreman, you said.
He would do it just by his presence. You see, and that's the same with Jeff. They weren't loud, verbose, braggart types.
Right.
Either one of them. It's just I don't know. They have that aura about them.
Did Jeff feel it necessary to compete with Jay in some way? Or?
Could be. Because being Jay McDonald's brother.
Yeah.
But Jay helped me out once. When later on I got to know him, we were at a bar and he fended off some guys. I'd lost an eye, and I wasn't even in a fight. I was in the wrong place and just got hit. And he knew it was me, and I think he knew the couple other guys. And he just took his car and started chasing these guys after him with the car, across the lawn and everything, to keep them away while they could get these other guys out of there. I mean, I like Jay.
What time was that in your life?
I was 24. That was 1964, summer 64.
Now, one of the things that Freddie and Mildred told me, again, these are the kinds of things that I have to check out, but one of the things that they told me was that there were two pieces of things that they heard about Jeff that they sort of later put together after the murders. One was an occasion when Jeff was over at their house. I guess this was right after they were married or something like that. And Jeff was walking their dog. This was at their house in Stony Brook, and some guy next door started threatening or something like that because the dog stepped on his lawn.
Violent temper, I know what you're going to say.
Truck driver type. But Jeff didn't do anything. Jeff came back to the house, and this guy was trailing him, shouting things at him, trying to get him to
Very
fight.
surprising.
But he did not do anything. And Colette, who was inside, Freddie had to go in and go out and chase Jeff away, chase the bad guy away. Colette apparently at that point said something to Mildred while they were watching this going on, that Jeff really can't afford to get into a fight because once he almost killed Jay. Now that's one piece. Other piece is this, that there came a time, they learned from either Colette's diary or from talking to Colette, that Jeff was gone for like 6 months to a year altogether, or he was in Texas or something like that. Nobody knows exactly what for or what he was doing down there or anything like that. Can you shed any light on either of those things? Were you ever aware of Jeff having had a big fight with Jay and beating him up there?
It doesn't ring a bell. It wouldn't surprise me. I can give you something else that maybe would. When we were in high school, for some reason, it was in. I can't remember. It was morning or afternoon. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was lunchtime, and you were allowed to go out, down to the hamburger place or whatever.
Right.
3 guys from other school came up, and they were I guess, badgering, yelling things, or whether it was football season or basketball season or whatever. And Jeff literally, 3 of them at one time, did them in.
He did the 3 of them in?
3 of them in.
Huh.
I don't know what they did to him or whether they started shoving him and pushing him. You think about it now, and I don't even, like I didn't think his strength was abnormal or anything like that, but I do think that maybe he, psych job. I don't know, guys.
When you say did him, just punching him almost.
Just literally left him there.
On the floor?
Let him. Well, I was outside the back door. We were up in the high school up in Saxton Avenue then.
Now was this at the hamburger place or at the...
No, this was at the school. He was coming into school. I mean, he really didn't go look for fights.
Right.
He wasn't a real fighter in that sense, but it was somebody, pushed him or did something, Then he had a violent temper.
And he just punched these, and they ended up lying outside the school?
I think he walked in. I think they just picked themselves up and left before anybody else came out,
So you were...
Ask Rube about that. Put that down there, to ask Rube, and if you get a chance to call him up.
Was he around at that point too?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Rube's been
got...
with me for...
Yeah.
Rube and I were friends from probably junior year, senior year, right on till now. We are friends. His family lives here. He comes down every year, and we see each other.
Yeah.
I've gone up there.
So you and he were at some remove from all this whole thing, did not get involved in taunting or anything like that, just witness what happened, essentially?
No. I think, that's what I'm asking. I think Rube's the one that told me about it.
Oh, I see.
You see,
So
I think
did not
Rube's the
see
one.
it.
No, I didn't say it, but Rube was right there, and I think he was the one that was there. It was running around school and everything. It was nothing that was. It was known. It was a known fact.
Yeah, but Jeff, it was pretty well known that Jeff laid these guys low.
Yeah.
All by himself.
Yeah.
What about this business of disappearing for a period of
I
time?
really don't. I didn't know anything about that. See, I moved to Kansas. I ended up, really getting serious about going back to school, and I ended up going to Kansas.
I see.
I guess 63. September 63, I imagine it was.
Okay.
Something like that.
So all right, but you started to say something before about Jeff being cold. That you didn't like that coldness. You felt...
It was him. In other words, if we were in a discussion and something came along that was important to him, wait just a second, and he may never come back to it. Just close you off, no matter what your needs are.
Yeah.
That kind of coldness.
Yeah.
That I'm here to. I'll listen to you until my needs stand out, and then I'll meet your needs or whatever.
But you mentioned that you felt at that time that Mildred and Freddie Mildred at least may have had you pegged wrong, but you felt that there was something internal about you that they never really understood or appreciated as compared to Jeff, for example. Qualities of character.
Jeff was Surfer Joe. Kind of atmosphere. I mean, he had the good. I wouldn't say he was the best looking, but he, with the blonde hair, he had the car, he dressed this way. He didn't have to work, kind of thing.
How
It's ironic how this is cross paths. The school I teach in, his mother was the nurse there for many, many years.
For Sachem?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
You can't believe how many times paths cross.
Yeah,
Simple
especially in a
little
small
silly
town
things.
like this.
Yeah.
How did he dress? You said he dressed a certain way.
Well, I grew up upstate with patches on my pants. It did wrong with me, but everything was matched and just so. That's the way I remember him.
Okay.
The style of the day, maybe that, where I didn't think I couldn't afford to be that stylish, is whatever we got.
Why was he able to afford a car and everything without having to work as you
He
did?
might have worked during the summers, saved his
He made a
money.
lot of bucks in the summer. So.
But he didn't work during the year that I know of.
Yeah.
And
You had to do that. You had to do that during the year as well.
Right. My junior year, my senior year, and then cut lawns the rest of the time. I had a paper route.
Let's diverge for a second. I try to do this as orderly as I can, but we get off in one tangent.
Oh yeah, I can see it. My friend just finished writing a book out. Paul Costello was waiting here, and he said, "What a time!" He's writing another one now, but he said it's so hard.
What kind of book did you just finish writing?
It was out of his mind. It was Tears of the Moon.
Novel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, now it was a lot easier.
It wasn't because it really was his school district.
Yeah.
It was about education, but it was his
Right.
school district.
Yeah.
And he told all the people as he really saw them,
Mhm.
but he changed the names and
Sort of
everything else.
Romana
He
Clef
had
type of-
calls and would you retract this publicly? And said,
Oh,
he
God.
said, how can I retract anything publicly if it isn't really the people? But
Yeah.
he had a lot of pressure put on him.
Yeah, well, see, obviously, this is not that kind of thing. This
Yeah.
is, I've got to be straight here.
I
Well,
know.
let's, just for a second, just to put a framework around it, let me get a longer view of your career now. After you left Kutztown and you and Colette broke up and so on, just maybe quickly sketch out what you've done since then. And you were talking
I
about
worked
the-
out at Brookhaven. I worked out there 6 months. During that summer, an insurance friend said, well, I know where you can go to school. And I said, where is it? And he said, Kansas Washburn University. So the farther the better. I went out there. My father and I looked at it because we went to visit my brother in Arizona. He was a pilot or navigator in the Air Force. I went there. I went for 2 years and then I stopped for a year and worked. Went back. I finished up in '69. I got married in '67. Finished up in '69. Went to law school.
Married, your wife is Susan?
Susie, yeah.
Right.
Well, Shirley Sue. Don't let it Shirley Sue. She likes to call it
Shirley
Susie.
Sue. She from this neck of the woods too, or
No.
did you meet her out there?
She's from Topeka, Kansas.
So you married her while you were in school?
Yeah. She finished 2 years ahead of me.
Okay.
But I worked, we were working fine.
What were you majoring in at Washburn?
I'm a history major. An English minor, among other minors. And then I've got an elementary degree, and then I've got a master's degree.
So you graduated from there in 1969.
Yeah. Went to law school, started law school right away.
Where? Which law school?
Right at Washburn University Law School.
You
Which doesn't mean anything here, but it means it out there.
It's a well thought of school in the
Yeah,
Midwest.
in the Midwest, right. Small school.
And you decided you didn't want to be a lawyer?
I didn't have any more money. I was broke, so I started teaching out there. And then we decided, we looked at the salaries here and said, we'll come here.
Right.
So
What did you
came-
start teaching?
Out there,
Right. What subjects?
what subjects? I
Yeah.
substituted. I taught phys ed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I could have had jobs out there, but I turned them down to come back here. I should have maybe stayed out there, had coaching jobs and that.
So you came back to Long Island when?
1971, 72. Taught 2 years in Southampton, junior high.
What subjects out there?
Social studies and English.
Okay.
Saved up money, went back to law school.
At
But I just,
Washburn?
yeah.
Right.
But after having, a few bucks in my pocket and being told it's going to be 10 years before I make it, and the top guy coming out of there makes 15 grand,
Yeah,
I
right.
just said, no way, because I'll be 40 some odd years old before I even start making any money.
Okay.
And we're starting to have our daughter, so I
Right.
came back here and got a job in Sachem, and I've been here.
Didn't know what do you do at Sachem?
I teach elementary school. While I was out there, I figured since I'm there, I picked up an elementary degree, because I was only from 7th through 12th. Now I can teach K through
What grade do you teach mostly?
6th grade.
And my wife was a sixth grade teacher.
Oh yeah? I like it. I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot more than junior high. I get to teach all subjects.
You say you picked up an elementary degree while you were out in Washburn?
You know, they let me do a lot of on my own courses and stuff because I knew some people.
All right.
I think I got a BA in history, a BE, in elementary, and then the MA. Now I got to start working on another.
Where'd you get the master's from?
Stony Brook.
In elementary education?
Well, it's a liberal arts, Masters of Liberal Arts.
Oh, masters of lots of stuff.
Yeah, well, that's it. Masters of lots of stuff.
My wife took that course. My wife was a teacher who taught school for 5 years in the New York City system.
Oh,
And then when I came to work at Newsday, I was commuting from Queens out to here.
well,
And then we decided to move out here, so I was covering Brookhaven, so we moved into Coram.
uh-huh.
As it turns out, 2 miles from where Colette's buried.
Is she right in the cemetery?
She's right at the corner of Washington Park, Memorial Park.
Yeah.
Right in
I've met
just as you walk in the
number-
gate. Just as you walk in the gate.
I meant a number of times to go there. And just
Yeah,
never-
I was there a couple of weeks ago. Just for some reason, after the trial, I was here and I
I
popped
should
in there
pick
just,
myself up. Yeah.
just to see if Freddie and Mildred put some special flowers out or something. They used to keep flowers at all times.
Yeah.
But anyway, my wife took this course, the same course probably you did at Stony Brook, the Masters of lots of stuff, so
Yep.
that she could retain her
Well-
certificate. You know, after a while, they put in this Masters requirement and so on and so forth.
They made you do that.
Yeah, I know. But she learned, she enjoyed it. She got a lot of Russian. She took some Russian stuff and everything else.
I took a lot of Spanish history.
Yeah, it doesn't suit you necessarily for the teaching, but it
Yeah, there are
rounds
courses
you
you
out.
could take. There are reading analysis
Yeah.
stuff. If you know, there's a lot of
Yeah,
stuff.
but it rounds you out. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, now she's teaching again. She's teaching in Catholic school after all this. She's teaching in Albany.
Uh-huh.
She's
My
making
father taught in Albany.
$7,200 a year.
Yeah.
$7,200
I know. That's why I came back here out of Kansas. I would have stayed there. I got offered assistant head coach,
Uh-huh.
basketball, all kinds of activities, which meant extra money,
Right.
and teach, my 3 or 4 courses in history in the high school. And it was good money back there. It was like $6,100. But
Yeah.
$50 a year raise.
Oh.
You know what I'd be making now? Her mother's got a doctorate degree.
Uh-huh.
And she teaches in the biggest school system, which are 6 high schools.
Yeah, right.
It's a large system. She's ahead of the whole economic thing.
Right.
She makes 13,
Oh,
13.9.
geez.
She can't believe what, my wife or what I make. She says, that's unreal.
Does your wife teach too, or what?
Yeah, my wife's a teacher. She teaches in Smithtown District,
Oh.
home economics. She was an elementary teacher, but they were closing out schools, so she went and got it. While we were out there, she went and got, each summer we've been going out there. She's been getting hours and hours.
Now this house, is this your parents' house or your house, or
This
what?
is my house. I bought it. It's just
And
a
they
house
live-
I bought a year and a half ago.
And your
February.
parents live with you, or?
No, they just came up from North Carolina. My father lives near Raleigh.
Does it really?
My father lives in, where Greenville, East Carolina University is?
Uh-huh.
My father lived there when he taught there, and now lives about 10 miles outside of it in a small community called Farmville.
Farmville.
So he would relay a lot of the things that I wouldn't get.
I see. Well, they were writing
Because-
about it like crazy.
Oh yeah, he said they just
Obviously,
covered-
I was constrained. We wrote about it a lot. I mean, you wouldn't read it nearly as much in the Times, for example, or the other papers, but compared to what the papers down there were writing, we
Yeah.
were writing nothing.
Yeah.
And I was writing every day. I mean,
Well, that's
every
why,
day.
we've talked it over, and he believes he's guilty.
Yeah.
I mean, he said all the things they printed down there, and that's how we got discussing how much they printed down there.
Yeah. So he's pretty familiar with the case too.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's talk about Freddie and Mildred for a second. How did they treat Colette, or how did they pay any attention at all to Bobby, or were they primarily interested in Colette? Or did
Bobby
they-
was of an age that he was gone a lot, and he
Yeah.
was going to Syracuse Law School.
right.
And I meant to ask you that, what he's doing now, because somebody
He's working
said,
for some large company. He lives.
did he ever go through law school?
I don't know. I didn't get the
Somebody told
impression
me he
he
got
was
caught
a-
up on drugs.
Bobby. I don't know.
Yeah, somebody told me that.
But he
around
was
here.
not at the trial at all. He showed up at the Supreme Court a couple of years ago when the Supreme was arguing in the Supreme Court, and he briefly talked to me, and he said he'd be willing to talk to me about it, and so on and so forth. But I'm in a delicate position with Freddie and Mildred, so I'm trying to save some of that for later on.
Yeah.
Because although I have a certain admiration for what they've done here, and as far as changing the government around and everything else, they're very weird people. I have a lot of work to do on them. before I-
Freddie seems to have he hit it from me. I would have never expected the background he had.
What, you mean OSS and all that stuff?
right.
He never mentioned that to you?
Oh, no. Like I said, he was very nice to me, always smiling. Would want to include you. In other words, if they were going out to dinner, I would always feel bad because they'd say, well, come on. And I knew they were going to someplace like the Pine Grove or something like that.
Right.
And I couldn't afford my way, and they'd say, oh, no, it's on us, we're going to take it. And they took me to a couple nice places, which my
Just
father...
the four of you, Freddie and Mildred and you and Colette, or Bob?
Yeah,
Bobby?
once, and then I think somebody else, I think Bobby and, what's her name?
Pepper?
Pep, yeah, she lived around the corner from where I live. Down where I
Her
grew
name
up.
was Vivian Purvis, is that
Purvis, yeah.
But I think her nickname was Pepper.
Yeah.
Okay. But they take you out to some nice places to eat on occasion.
Once, twice, I think, which I was going to tell you, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it did to me because my father and we never went out.
Didn't eat out?
We didn't go to McDonald's or any place.
Yeah.
So it was really something for me.
Yeah, right. Okay. But I got the impression that they always thought of her as a sort of a princess, that they wanted the best things for her and horse riding lessons.
Well, Bobby was always given the best things too. He drove a big Olds convertible around, when other kids were just riding in their little Chevys or whatever,
Right.
And, always well dressed. And I can't remember him working, but I may be wrong,
Right.
But
What kinds of
a
things?
lot of kids came home for Christmas vacation and worked in Sweezies or something like that.
Right.
He never did, so.
Okay. Did they give her horseback lessons and stuff? What kinds of things did they do for her in terms of
I don't know
cultural
about.
things and
I don't know
stuff?
if they did or not. I know that she used to be able to stay over at the beach and stuff like that, during the summer. There were no special things when, like the senior year that I really got to know her and that I can remember. You haven't jogged my memory at all.
Okay. Were you aware about the 3 previous Colettes? Did you know that Mildred had 3 girls, three daughters, all of whom died?
I don't know whether
All of
you're
them were-
mentioning that I did before that or somebody else mentioned it to me.
Or maybe you might have read it in this paper too.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it.
Yeah, I couldn't say that I.
Okay. Well, as you grew to know Colette more in those years of high school, not the first time you met her and so on and so forth, what kind of person was she really? How would you describe her? Obviously, you felt very bad
Well,
when
she
you
needed
broke up.
love. I'll tell you that. She was very loving. She was afraid of like a couple times. If you've been to Potter Avenue.
I have not.
There's a big window in the front. There's a porch you go into, and there's a big.
What was he dressed? Remember?
12? I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
It's a stucco house.
House is still there as it was, basically.
Oh, yeah. You go in the street, and it's, well, it depends on which way you come from, but it's the second one in. On the left. It's stucco.
Right.
I think it's yellow now. Anyway, I think I passed by it once. I used to peer in there, and it would just, she asked me not to do it anymore. And I didn't. At first, I thought she was just kidding, acting. But she was very scared of dark, alone. She didn't like it. I don't know. Like Freddie and Mildred used to eat out every night. So I could go
Eat
over
out
there.
every night?
Oh, pretty much I'd say out of the 5 nights, and they were working, and their store used to be open a lot. So what they would do is eat out, and like Colette used to have me over and say, "I'll cook you something," or we'll put in something, let's get McDonald's or something like that.
This was in high school time.
And her aunt her mother would leave her money, so we'd eat on that. It wasn't money I had.
Right.
I guess you could figure that out.
Yeah.
But she was alone a lot because they were running the store.
Yeah. And she was afraid of that. But she would be afraid when you'd stick your face in the window.
Yeah, she'd always, very, very much so,
But there would be times when you'd go over there and she'd just whip you up something in the kitchen and sit around and talk and stuff like that. This is in high school now.
Oh, yeah. Or they'd have me for dinner or something like that, and it was always, usually, well, we never ate. They had a kitchen dinette little thing off to the side. We never ate there. It was always in the dining room. And I always remember they had a glass table. I don't know if they still got it. But with, you could see the legs, and they were like, I think they were gold painted.
Yeah, I think I remember that table from the house in Stony Brook.
Yeah, all right, and it's elegant.
Well,
At least to me.
The house conveyed the impression of elegance, I guess.
Oh, it was sunken living room, and the living room was probably, it seemed to me, I know if I went back, it's just like when I come into this town, when I was a kid it seemed big, now it seems small.
Yeah.
But the room seemed like it was almost the size of this garage.
The living room?
The living room, with a fireplace. You had to go up a couple stairs to the fireplace. And the couch was 60 million feet long, it seemed like. You could stretch out and still have room for people to sit down on.
Did you
There were
feel
always
intimidated
cigarettes
at all?
in the box, that kind of thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, lighters, that you could pick up and light.
Did you feel intimidated
Piano.
by that to some extent?
I loved it.
Oh, you loved it?
Leather top desk. Yeah, but I can understand. You see, from coming from my house where we did with what we had
Right.
to that, I could understand it in the sense that she was an interior decorator.
Yeah.
And Colette used to say, well, she brings a lot of her clients here, to show them
Oh, I see.
and stuff. So, hey, and I liked it. I want to tell you, they had pillows that you could just lay on pillows on the floor, and the rug was deep.
I realize
Yeah,
they
we used
made
to
that
watch games and all that, basketball games.
Oh, yeah?
One of the best times where we got laughing and giggling was, and I'll never forget it, the slips announcers make,
Mm-hmm.
and a guy shot the ball, and he said, Bob shits again! And we got laughing and giggling about that. Must have laughed about that for an hour, because you never heard the bloops usually.
Yeah, right.
Probably Kurt Gowdy or something.
Did she have a pretty good sense of humor, Colette?
Yeah, I thought so. Sometimes we used to, if we were going someplace, we'd kid around, and it would get to be who can outdo who. And one time I remember I opened my window, the little vent, and she got cold. She said, she says, that doesn't bother me or something. So she opened up her vent.
Right.
Cranked down. It was winter, cranked down. We ended up the whole car, and we're sitting there, we got laughing and giggling about it, We still, go out to the beach, take a walk or something like that. I'll tell you, it's a thing I don't think I've ever gotten over. And I know if I knew Colette, I know in my heart, if I knew her today, I maybe wouldn't like her. She may have personality have changed.
Mm-hmm.
But from the times that I do know her, I still love her. That kind of a thing. I don't know, maybe she made it because I had the feeling that she needed something. That I felt like, hey, I'm worth something. I can, she depends upon me to talk to or me to bolster her up or, go places.
Yeah. But you say she needed love and she was very loving. Or do you get the impression that Mildred and Freddie were maybe somewhat less?
Mildred's a little cold, you got to admit.
Yeah.
You can feel it right away, too. She's not your average hugging mother.
Yeah.
She comes on that way with the words and all that, but she's not really.
Yeah.
At least that's my. Freddie's much more warm, I think.
Yeah.
But not being her real father, maybe, and it wasn't too removed, maybe 5 years since her father had been,
Right.
But
Freddie always says that
he always wrestled and kidded with her, though.
Yeah, but Freddie
give her
says
a pinch.
that Colette would insist that people call him her father rather than stepfather.
Yeah.
Is that true, basically?
Yeah.
So she had a relatively good relationship.
Yes,
with him.
no, good. Like I said, he'd give her a pinch or something, on the side, or go, she was laying on the floor, he'd come and put his foot on top of her like he wouldn't let her up, or, anything like that.
So he was more warm towards Colette.
Yeah.
How about Helen now? Some people say that really Colette was almost raised in a sense by Helen Madison rather than by Mildred.
Helen, I tell you a story. I blew it with Helen, and I think that was the start of a downfall because something happened and Helen and I got in an argument.
Right.
It was really an argument by me, and I was totally wrong. Now that I look back at it, whatever it was, I was wrong because it's what you said. She was really an awful lot like her mother. Helen was Colette's fairy godmother.
Right.
And any problems Colette had, or needed to talk to somebody, or just needed to be, if she was depressed, be brought up, Helen was always there.
Right.
Did she have a son, Billy? Is it
I
Billy?
don't know. Helen? I for some reason
Or nephew,
no, I don't
a
think.
nephew, Billy, that used to live with her?
I don't think she ever got married. To tell you the honest truth.
No, there used to be a Billy.
Or was it?
It was a good relationship between her and Helen.
Yeah. Do you think it was to some extent the fault on Mildred's part? That is to say that Mildred was busy doing whatever it was she was doing?
Yeah, Mildred liked the nightlife. Mildred, she liked the sparkles and glitters, you can see that about her.
Yeah.
And, to be seen at the right places, to go to the right dinner clubs, or this.
Yeah. The
And,
Domino
the
Yacht
fashion
Club.
one. Yes, right, the Domino Yacht Club. That's where they used to go every Friday night.
Yeah.
That's why very seldom did we ever have to worry about Colette being able to go out on a Friday night or a Saturday night. Because they'd be going there or there. They'd have
So
some
Colette would be available to you.
Oh, yeah, we'd be out. It was even a lot of school nights till 9 o'clock. We'd do some studying together.
Was she bright?
Good average. I think good average, yeah. She's, a worker. A good girl. In the sense that, most girls didn't want to do bad in school, so therefore they did their work always.
Right. But always very affectionate, you found. Always very loving and affectionate.
Yeah. Not cold and not standoffish.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. But in those years, you and Jeff were the primary beaux, so to speak.
That's all I would know. I don't know of anybody else, tell you the truth. I can't. Oh, I can remember one. You may know him. Johnny Huber.
Johnny Huber?
You remember Johnny Huber? But that was on, I'm talking about back in 6th grade or 7th grade, 7th or...
I see.
I think for maybe, a couple months. I can't. That's the only person that comes to my mind.
Now, what happened between you and Colette, between that period when you first came here, 7th and 8th grade?
When Jeff and I had a fight like in 9th grade, I'd been going for a little while, or he had, back and forth. And then I think he went with like 10th and 11th grade.
So almost from the time you arrived in town, it was either you or Jeff with Colette back and forth, one way or the other.
Uh-huh.
Do you recall?
I had other girlfriends, while he was going with her or something.
I see.
It seemed like I was pining away.
No, but I mean, for that time, for that period of time, it was mostly either you or Jeff.
Yeah, within her life, yes.
Okay. Do you recall a specific incident, a fight of some sort that took place down at the beach that Bonnie would have been around for, Bonnie Brown? I seem to recall Freddie and Mildred saying that there was a fight of some kind down at the beach, and after that you and Colette got back together, and she and Jeff didn't see each other for a while, and all that kind of stuff.
No, you see, I always liked Colette, and I didn't get into it again, because I thought, here she'd been going a year, then it was almost 2 years, and I just said, well, I'm not going to get into the middle of it, I'm not going to go,
Yeah.
What happened was we were both in the same homeroom in my junior year, in our junior year.
You and Colette?
Yeah, and I was taking French and doing as little as possible as I could.
Yeah.
And then just before class, and then we had not only homeroom, it was either homeroom or study hall, and she would help me.
Yeah.
And, we'd laugh and giggle during the time we were doing it because things, just seemed funny at the same time to us.
Right.
And like I say, I wasn't the greatest student, and she was helping me through it. And I ended up quitting that. Or stopping after half year. That's all you needed was a half year of French or something. And that's where we started to realize that, we kind of liked each other again. But I stayed out of it. I didn't want anything to do with it because she was going with Jeff.
Yeah.
And I think I was going with another girl at the time. But how it all started again was that when it came around Thanksgiving time or that football season,
Of the two,
we
of the
all went
junior
over. Yeah, no, senior year. In other words, this is the end of the junior year. It ended. Now we're getting in, and all of a sudden now Colette and I are going to start going together.
So this
for
will
that
be November of
2.5 years.
60 or so.
60.
The
Somewhere in
Kennedys
there.
elected.
We started playing football, girls against the guys and stuff like that over at Delmar Brown. And, word filters back when they wanted to. They like so-and-so. So we just started going out.
And she sort of dropped Jeff at that time.
I think she had dropped him. I wasn't sure. I think she had during the summer, and I think that's
That
where
may be
that fight that you're talking about came about.
Right, so I'll have to find out about that from Bonnie, but
Yeah.
Over at Delmar Brown's house, she was playing football, and Colette was heterosexual football game, girls on one side, guys on the other side.
Or both,
Or mixed up.
Yeah, mixed, whatever.
And that's when you and Colette got started back together again.
Right.
Okay. What about Judy McDonald? What do you know about Judy McDonald? Anything much? She lives up in my
A
neck of
good
the woods.
friend of mine went out with her for a while. He's a doctor now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Tommy Riley. He knows her pretty well.
Riley?
Yeah.
Is he around here now?
No, I think he's Ohio. It's at Cincinnati University. Matter of fact, the head of their emergency procedures or whatever it is, for not emergency, but Intensive care.
Oh, I see.
Intensive care, that's what it was. Jeff was the emergency.
Yeah,
All right.
okay.
But Judy was always loud.
Loud?
Loud.
Maybe she was being
Yeah,
younger.
I think she was competing with, she was always heavy. And she was trying to compete, you know, and show off that she was as smart as her brothers, you know, or whatever.
I see.
Airtight stuff.
Oh, that's nice.
That's what I've been trying to figure out where I'm going to put it. I just built this. This is not too old, and so I want to make it my workshop. You know, I don't want to always work on people's cars on the side and all that.
Yeah.
You know, it's good side money and it's tax free.
Yeah.
So I do it. You know, just a little bit of it.
Well, Jeff was handy to some extent too, wasn't he? Didn't he and Jay help his father build that little place next to his house on Washington Avenue?
I don't know. I don't
You
really don't know.
didn't really hang around your house that much, I think.
I told you we started to. I think it was a junior year or sophomore year, and we both were in a class and we had to do reports. We're both in, I think, Mr. Giles' English class or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so we both agreed to go to the library. You know, I mean, we were talking, and to go. And I just, after a couple days of it or a couple weeks of it, I just didn't care for the things he wanted to do.
What kind of thing?
Well, I was a little more precocious is the word. Maybe he didn't want to do the things I wanted to do either. You know, I mean, I couldn't see sitting around reading a book at that point. I wanted to be out. I wanted to be playing sports. I wanted to do this and that.
Was he a good quarterback, by the way? Other than the fact that he was brittle?
I never got a chance to really prove whether he was. I think as far as leadership qualities, probably yes. I think people would listen to him.
Yeah.
Well, but you know,
He hurt himself finally in one of the games, I think, towards the
being
senior
an
year.
end, as an end.
He hurt himself as an end?
Yeah, he went up for a pass. I hit him right in the middle of the back, and I think it broke
really?
his vertebrae or whatever, cracked it or whatever, and that was it.
What was that, the senior year?
I think it was I believe it was a senior
The
year.
poor Jeff game, by any chance?
I'm not exactly sure which game it was, but he couldn't make it. His quarterback, Rooney, was here. I don't know if you know about Harold Rooney, or he's since died. He got all screwed up too. He went to Syracuse and full boat and all that. And
Yeah.
had tryouts with the Dolphins and everything. Just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Ended up becoming a gay
Uh,
and all that, you know. And
but Rooney was able to beat Jeff out for
oh
quarterback
yeah,
there?
he much bigger, 6'2", 215, 220. Plus he could run faster and he could, do all the throw better. And,
There was a coach who was the coach at that time,
yes,
Italian last name.
Augustinello.
Joe Augustinello.
Mm-hmm.
I take it he's still around, works in the district, so on and so forth.
He lives right up about 6-7 streets up,
Yeah.
off of Roboto.
Yeah, I'll talk to him at some point.
I don't think you'll find too many guys that really like him as a coach.
Who like Augustinello?
Yeah, I played under him a little bit. I played under him in basketball, and then I played football, and I got hurt. And basketball was my sport, so I just stopped it right there. But
he
I don't know. He's a different guy. He did what he thought the way he should do it. But some of the guys weren't too crazy about it.
But I'm sure he'll remember Jeff. And
Oh yeah, sure, very much so.
Was he the head coach, the football coach that time?
Yeah.
There was a guy by the name of Dutch Schultz too. But he's dead now.
Yeah, he's a very good friend of my father. Matter of fact, he's buried right behind his house. There's an old cemetery.
Did Jeff get chosen as, he was a president of his class in high school, the senior year? Did you get involved in that at all? Or?
No, I got in on the, I tell you, I didn't go for a lot of that. I was the art editor for the yearbook, and I didn't like the meetings and all that baloney and the time they would spend haranguing things. Maybe you did, I'm not knocking anybody who did like that kind of stuff.
I cover politics now, but as a student, I could never take politics.
I ended up quitting. I just said, you guys can go talk this all over. It seems to me it could be done a lot more simple.
Yeah.
So I never got into those kind of things. It wasn't my.
But did he have much of a fight to get elected president, or was it a walk away?
Pretty much a walk away, I would say. People just expected it, you know. I don't know how many other people wanted it. I can't really remember. It wasn't a real banner thing, you know.
Yeah, right. There was something about him being the king of the prom or something like that? Did he end up being the king of the prom, as you recall, or what? Or was that somebody else?
Could have very well been. I don't know. I have to go through all my stuff.
Was there a thing where a lot of the girls felt that Jeff was a desirable kind of guy because...
I would say so.
Yeah.
If they could bag him, yeah, I would say so.
So he was getting it every which direction, I guess.
Yeah, mostly I'd say so, yeah. And plus Carol Larson, I don't know if you've ever seen her or anything, but
No.
she was gorgeous. I mean, she was a lot better looking than Colette.
Yeah.
If you want to objectively stand that,
Right.
you know.
Well, you know,
Very
of course,
quiet, very sweet girl, you know.
You know, of course, that Carol Larson was allegedly seen kissing Jeff and so on and so forth at the railroad station here in Patchogue after the marriage.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be testifying at the trial, but they didn't use her at the end.
Hey,
Would have been
it's a
interesting.
known fact by most people that he was running around.
I mean, after the marriage?
Yeah. I mean, somebody saw him here. I mean, if I would believe the say-so of those people, if I wasn't there, but most people realized that that's, you know. I mean, that's what I meant about snaking before. You ever heard the term snake?
No, I didn't.
A snake is a guy who, just runs around and will, all the time. That's
Well, how
he had
would
that
that have-
reputation when he was younger, you know.
Yeah, but how would people have known that after the marriage, though, when
People
they
that I
were really out
talked
of
to that
contact?
were,
They were
other
Princeton.
people who went to Princeton or had seen them somewhere, or they came back here and lived in the summers for a while,
Right.
or they'd heard from somebody else,
Okay, but it was relatively general consensus around that Jeff was not being totally faithful to
Yeah.
Colette.
Pretty much so.
Had people seen him with specific people?
No, not that I know of, not that I could say exactly, but I would say the general opinion came out that way. It also probably stemmed from that he would do that when he was doing that when he was in, whether it be true or not.
In a sexual way, or just in a more innocent high school way?
Sexual way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff got his share of noogies.
That's right.
Jeff isn't getting it now.
Yeah. Well,
Jeff will be catching
is
up
that
with-
is that true as far as you know? Because the rumor back here is that within a month after her death, that he had a
yeah.
girl or so brought into barracks there from south.
No question about that. That's true.
Yeah.
That is
So doesn't that tell you anything?
Yeah. Well, that's what started to
That's-
tell Freddie and Mildred things. Well, did you hear that at the time or later or
I
what?
heard that within. I was out in Kansas and I heard it through people I knew here who wrote me and everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sure.
Who might have written that to you? You know?
It might have been Rube.
Oh, Rube?
Yeah.
He sounds like a guy I should talk to.
Yeah, Rube's a good guy. He's pretty objective about things.
But you were out in Kansas and you were getting rumors to this effect.
Well, I would come home and talk to people. If I came home, for a while there, I was coming home at Christmas.
Right.
I could make it.
Mm-hmm.
You just happen to talk to people or something like that, or you ask about it, or did you hear this,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or talk to Billy Reich, I see him around, I talk to cops. Cops know everything. They hear every rumor that's around. Whether they
Billy-
tell people. Billy's a cop.
Yeah, I know, but did Billy know Jeff too, or just?
Oh yeah, yeah. He knew Jeff. I don't know whether he was too crazy about Jeff though.
Well, I'll talk to Billy in June too. Where do they live now, by the way? They live in.
Mason Road, East Mason Road, East Patchogue. You know Patchogue area?
Slightly, like I said, I used to cover town.
You know where Dutton Avenue School is?
Yeah.
On Dutton Avenue?
Right.
All right. There's a little road by Dutton Avenue School, and it goes like this.
Okay.
All right, and if you go right down that road, you look to your right.
Right.
There's a bunch of brick houses in there. One of them's Mason,
Okay.
M-A-S-A-E-M, I think.
By the way, speaking of the high school, just for a second, let's digress.
Okay.
When you first came here, the high school and the junior high school were both co-located at the South Ocean
Right.
Avenue School.
Mhm.
That was when you were in what grades?
That's seventh, 8th, and 9th. Was it 7th, 8th, 9th? Yeah.
Later on, where did the high school?
Saxton Avenue, which is now a junior high.
Excellent. Was it called Patchogue High at that time?
Yeah. It wasn't Patrick Medford yet.
So that's where you graduated from, the school on Saxton Avenue?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And subsequently...
Which is right off of Washington Avenue, which is
Yeah.
about 4 blocks from where Jeff grew up.
Yeah.
5 blocks up north of.
Where were you, or what were you doing, if you remember, and I have to assume that you do, when you heard about these murders?
Driving from my house to a basketball game, playing basketball.
In the morning or the evening? Or?
Evening, about 6 o'clock, 6:30, just dark.
That would have been
February.
February,
Just dark.
February the
So,
17th. That night, of the murders happened
Just
in the early
before I was
morning
going
hours.
there, I couldn't believe it. I cried in the car. I didn't believe it. I had to wait. Matter of fact, I was late getting into the game because I had to turn the radio and wait till the news again to repeat it.
Where was this? Where was the basketball game?
In Topeka again. It was a local league, in a league.
You were playing?
Yeah.
This is when you were going to college, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I went to school and I started to play basketball, but then I was too old.
Yeah.
And I waited around. And it was very hard for a 25-year-old guy to get up for
Yeah.
things. So what I ended up, the coach really, we got to know each other, liked me, so I was his trainer.
Mhm.
I made $75 a month. Plus got to travel to Colorado, New Mexico,
Yeah.
playing around. I liked it. Plus working on other jobs.
So you heard this just as you were arriving at the basketball game? Where was the basketball game?
In a local gym, school. Can't
And
remember.
you started crying immediately as soon as you heard this, or did
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it.
And then you waited for the news to come on again to make sure you heard right or something?
Yeah. Because I couldn't believe it. I heard it.
Well, what
I
was your
didn't
first
think,
thought
because
about,
you're riding along and you just hit clips,
Yeah.
and I just didn't.
what was your first thought about what probably happened at that
I
moment?
thought it was another Manson killing. Took me a year to realize that he did it. Matter of fact, I even wrote him a letter saying, I'm sure it'll all work out, and if you ever need me for any help or anything like that, I'd be glad to give it. He
When
was
was
here
this?
in Washington Avenue. It was during that first, that was 69. I was back here then, living here, so that was 70. Let me think for a second. That was in the 70s.
Okay, you wrote him a letter over at Washington Avenue?
Yeah, it was in the late 69, 70. I came back, I can't exactly remember exactly. 69 the summer, I went to law school, taught there. So it could be in late 69 or very early 70.
Okay. Of course, in late,
Because I couldn't believe, who could believe that a father would kill his own children?
well, when the Army, when they started writing about it, I guess you were out in Kansas when most of the notoriety was taking place.
Yes, I believe I saw the Dick Cavett show out there.
Oh, I see.
I think I saw that out there. Because I was a little, my father was writing me, and I got some information there. And he might have been the one that told me he had someone in the barracks. Very well could have been. Because he was getting all the news from down there, being only, 50, 75 miles away.
I see. What, when you say it was only a year or so later that you realized that he did it, what would have made you realize that he did it?
Well, one, nothing to the contrary was ever presented.
Yeah.
Nobody was ever found. If they could find Manson and Lubonka killers,
Right.
if they could, other killings that had gone on, and the more I thought about it, that there's nothing to refute it. And when I had heard that he had had a woman brought in, and I realized that, after that sitting for a while, she couldn't have meant a hell of a lot to him.
Yeah.
And the more I talked it over with people, people would ask me about it. What do you think? And the more I talked it over out loud and hearing myself, I realized that it has to be. It had to be.
Have you ever come up with your own?
And then the incidences of having a terrible temper.
Yeah.
Like I told you, when somebody aggravated him. Being a Green Beret. Why? If I were a doctor going in there, I wouldn't want to be a Green Beret. Just let me learn something while I got to be in the Army.
Yeah.
You know, teach me a new thing. My brother-in-law, he did his with the VA, learned to be, he can do any kind of dentistry he wants now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he got something out of it. No, I couldn't. That's not a logical point of view, do you think?
Well,
I mean, if they let you be a correspondent in the Army, and let you learn from different people, and you learned more writing, maybe you wrote about the garbage pail, so what?
Yeah.
It was a form of learning writing and reporting. Then you would feel, well, I got something out of it,
Well, I come at this with a bias because I was in the Army for 3.5 years of my life, and I spent some time at Fort Bragg. And I do not trust anybody who eats snakes voluntarily or jumps out of airplanes unless he's pushed. So I do not trust the Green
Well, I didn't
Beret
go in the Army
myself.
because I lost my arm, so I don't know. But my brother's in the Air Force, and he had to eat a little rabbit that they gave him as training for when he went into Vietnam in the planes. And he says, you do it. You do it because you're there, and they won't give you anything to eat for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But he said, he says you won't believe what some of the guys will do. And if you're that kind of a person and you love that kind of thing, you must be a real volatile person. You must really like to have fighting and another good friend of mine was a Marine. He told me they throw them into pits and start throwing sand at each other. Pretty soon you're beating up your best friend, or he's beating you up, and you better stop him, or else you're going to get really damaged.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to do that kind of? All those things started coming together and saying, no, I can't believe it.
Did you ever arrive in your own mind at an idea of why he would have done this after never having been accused of anything bad before or since?
The only thing that I can really it probably was an act of rage.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I think he's such an egomaniac that he figured he could get away with it. That nobody would probably believe it. That no one would, conceive that anybody could do that kind of thing. Could you tell me something?
Sure.
How did they figure it happened? What came first, second, third, or whatever?
Well, they figured it was an argument of some kind, that they don't know exactly what it might have been over. It could have been almost anything. They were having some discussions over the Chamberlain and Kristen wedding the bed or whatever. And however the argument started, Colette and he got into this fight, and it just escalated, and he beat the shit out of Colette with this club, this stick that was in the house. And Kimberly came in the room, turns around, beats the shit, hit Kimberly with the club, and down on Kimberly. And then the most unforgivable part of all, what the jury said, and which I believe, is that having done that, he realized that there was no way out for him. His whole career is blown. His whole life is blown. He's going to go away for the rest of his days. The only thing to do is to make it look like the Manson thing. And to do that, he had to finish off Kristen. So he went in and blithely finished off Kristen, who was sleeping in bed. That is the way they think it happened. And then, of course, during the process of all this, Colette came in to Kristen's room, obviously while Jeff was trying to do in Kristen, because there's a lot of Colette's blood on Kristen's bed. But there's no blood of Colette's on Kristen's floor. And yet there is a footprint of Jeff McDonald's footprint with Colette's blood type leading out of that room. So they figured he carried her out of that room in a sheet that was soaked in blood, and either stepped on Colette, who was bleeding, or stepped on the sheet that had her blood on it and left that footprint. The sheet had imprints of his pajama tops on it and her pajama tops in blood, the sleeves of the two of them. And one of his own defense witnesses confirmed that, even though he was a scientific expert who was supposed to help Jeff out to some extent. So that's basically the way they figure it happened, But you... Oops.
I don't know how you feel. It's just a hodgepodge of things we've talked about.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have a long list of questions here, but, now I'll go back and I'll listen to what you said, and probably something you said about some incident will prompt me to come back and ask you further questions about it. It's the process of screening down, narrowing the questions down, and so on and so forth. But you became convinced that you felt that based on what you knew of his egotism, that he might have just been egotistical enough to realize, to think that nobody would figure
this would be his only way out. That he he could pull it off. Everything else in his life has worked out perfect. As far as I see it from my events, everything else that he ever wanted to do, he's done. You know, he's a very goal-oriented guy, and he, you know, I got to give him all the credit. He worked hard for it. Probably, you know, making it through college and medical school.
Yeah.
But things worked out for him just right. I mean, he didn't have a lot of money pressures, you know.
Would Colette likely leave a door unlocked?
I doubt it. Seriously doubt it.
You said she was pretty much afraid of being
That's
alone and
right.
stuff.
She didn't like the dark.
She
I
didn't
seriously doubt that.
Yeah.
Be like my wife. It'd be hard luck to find a door unlocked in that house.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
Why?
Well, because the door was unlocked, or at least that's what Jeff said. That's how these people gained entry. There was
Unless-
no sign of anybody breaking in. But no, you're right. Though I don't think I don't think Jeff McDonald has ever met any human being that he thinks is smarter than him. There was an old lady sitting in the courtroom, had orange hair and kind of a funny looking old lady, but she said something that, before Jeff even spoke, she said something to the effect that, I'd like to buy how smart that man is and sell it for how smart he thinks he is. You know, and Jeff could not conceive of a conviction here. No way did he think he was going to be
He
convicted.
might have shut out an awful lot.
Say again?
He might have shut out an awful lot.
You mean have forgotten about this over the years?
Well, I don't know. I forgot about it, but I imagine a trauma like that, you put it as far as you can out of your memory.
Yeah.
You know.
He may at this moment believe that he's innocent.
Yeah.
If
Lock
he
that
did
little
this
door.
thing, if he did this thing, let's face it, and I've always been convinced that he did. If he did this thing, he's a pretty monstrously fucked up individual on the inside. I mean, to have dragged all these people along with him. The thing that bothers, the thing that bothers me. No, you know, the other thing to remember, of course, is that